We've been talking about where and what support looks like on your pathway to achieving whatever you're trying to achieve all week. Today, we're going to give you some of the things we picked up as we really discussed a lot. And also, I'm going to tell you what you missed out on yesterday because I got kicked out right at the beginning. All that and more on episode 791 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm well, Bob. How are you today?
I'm good. I actually got the number in towards the end this time. First time I've ever done that.
Well, every time's a little different. You're with us today.
Well, we'll see how that works.
For the moment.
For the moment, yes. If you weren't with us yesterday, I was unceremoniously dumped from the program due to a hot iPhone.
Yes, and not by me.
A hint for you: if you're in your car and you're on an iPhone call and you have your heater on and the sun is coming in the front window and you have it up on your dash, it's going to get hot and it's going to kick you out. And it doesn't warn you. It just says too hot, goodbye.
And then it takes a while for it to cool
things
down,
happen
right?
for a reason, right?
Maybe. I don't know. You never know.
You don't.
Maybe the universe just wanted everyone to be on edge to hear what your thoughts and ideas were yesterday around where not to look for support.
I guess there is that possibility, yes.
Fair enough.
Could
enough.
be.
All right. Well, what's that?
It could be. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I'm willing to consider it.
Because they were hanging on what you were going to say just as you were about to say it and cut out.
Yeah, I had about 400 people email me, please record a video and let me know what you had to say. Not.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each week, we have a conversation around a topic, and then each day we dive a little bit deeper into that topic. And then on Fridays, today, we share our discoveries of the week rather than just our one thing. It's a chance for us to look back and sort of measure and understand a little bit differently, evaluate what we learned throughout the week. And as we go through that conversation today, if you have discoveries that you'd like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments because we know it'll add value to our content and it might be just exactly what someone else is looking for. So please feel free to go ahead and share it. Even if you think that it's common information that everyone would know, there's a pretty good chance that's not the case. And even if they knew some of the information, they haven't heard it from you in the way that you're going to share it. And that may resonate differently with them. So please share your thoughts and ideas and your value with others around you. And you just might pick up some value for yourself. Before we dive into that conversation, though, each morning, Bob and I start off with our celebrations. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating. Last night, I got to go to a really cool guitar ensemble concert, and I got to watch some high school kids at Bel Air High School perform, and they played really tough stuff. Like, I play some guitar, and when I say I play guitar, I'm not anywhere close to the guitar playing qualities of these 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, even some 15-year-olds. And shout out to Jordan, who I was watching especially closely because I've watched him play guitar, and he doesn't even look at the music. He doesn't even look at his fingers. It's just instinct, and I'm so jealous. I wish I had 1/100th of his talent with guitar. But we all have our gifts. I understand. But I aspire to be better. I aspire one day for Jordan to say he wants to play guitar with me.
Mm-hmm. Nice. For you, sounds like a fun evening.
Yes, it was. It was really fun. How about you?
I'm going to celebrate that I'm going to be doing some work with an organization and some of their associate or affiliated organizations around board management. For whatever reason, I've had a number of
Nonprofit board management.
correct. I've had a lot of discussions with people in nonprofit board management. And, when you're in the process of figuring out like what the session is going to look like with someone else, they're sharing sort of what's real for them and what they think might add value. It's always enjoyable to me when you kind of come to that space of, oh yeah, this is what we could really use. And we think this would really be helpful. And this is the way we'd like to do it. And sort of people, I think, all walked away with a feeling like this is going to have value. I think sometimes you're always concerned about what's going to happen. Now, I had done some work with them before, so they knew me a little bit. And it was nice to walk away and have them feel confident that the 2 sessions we're going to do, we're going to add value for them and their members. And so I'm going to celebrate that coming to understanding.
I know that feeling. It is amazing to see because you come at it from different perspectives, and all of a sudden there's that moment where it ignites, right? It's a lot like, the rocket fuel in the spaceships, right? They have the fuel on the one side and the fuel on the one side comes together, and that's what propels it. I feel like that's kind of what happens there. And then you take off and it's a whole new trajectory because of that connection.
Sure. And then it's then when it actually turns out the way you hoped it might, or at least planned on it, knowing that it's not always going to be exactly the way you planned it, is like the next thing that you have to look forward to. And at least you feel like they're walking into this believing that there's going to be a ton of value in it. And so that's.
Yes. I know that feeling. It is a great feeling. So that's a great celebration. Yeah. And it's Friday, Tom.
It is. You've been waiting all week for Friday.
This week I have. It's been a long week.
Just been a week.
I don't.
Has it been a long week? Curious about that.
I don't.
How many hours this week have we had?
I don't usually quantify weeks, but this is one where I feel like I'm ready for some downtime. I'm looking forward to a little bit of rest, although I've got some things I've got to take care of, some business things and some personal business things I've got to sort out over the next 2 days. So it's not like I'm going to be sitting and watching TV all weekend, although I guess it's basketball, right? We're getting tournaments. NCAA tournament starts next weekend. Don't say those 2 words. We'll get in trouble. They'll get mad if you talk about March and how mad you can get. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So was it really a long week? Did you have extra hours this week? Were there more than 24 hours in any one of your days?
No, there was not.
Just trying to understand how it became.
I did not get as much sleep one night as normal. That certainly factors into this. Okay. I did more being out networking this week. I've met 72 people this week.
That's good.
Through networking, but that's a lot of, I'm an extrovert, but I think as I get older, I move more towards introverted.
Wait, what?
Really? And this is not unlike a lot of people that they'll move, even if you're an extrovert like all the time, there's a point where you just go, okay, I've got enough of that. You get recharged if you're an extrovert, you're recharged by being around people. That like sparks things for you. I'm finding more and more as I get older that there's a limit to that spark.
Interesting.
And people who are introverts tend to get recharged by their time away from people. It doesn't mean they don't want to be around people. It just means that they get the spark from being alone, just doing things, individual pursuits, reading, cleaning, checking their email, something like that. And it's not black and white. I used to teach this because I would have students, engineering students, who were introverts, and they bought into the myth that if you're an introvert, you don't like people. I can't go to a networking event. It's like, no, that's not it at all. I know introverts that go to networking events are really successful and really enjoy them. They're also the people that build time before and after to not be around other people because they need to recharge in that way. And they'd be like, oh, that's exactly how I am. Yeah, that's because well, it's important to point out, because I think when you're at a networking event, you'll see some people who will talk for a little while and then they'll go off on their own. They'll go. I was at an event a couple weeks ago, and someone would come over and talk to people for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they go off to the bar alone. Then they come back, and they did this back and forth. And I've one of the times came over, I met him. I said, "Hard for you to spend a lot of time with people in a row." And he said, "Yeah, it really is. I can go about 10 minutes, then I just need to, like, I don't know, get away for a couple minutes." I'm like, "Oh, would you say you're an introvert?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." I said, "Okay, that's probably what's going on. You've reached your capacity of people time. Now you need to recharge, and then you come back." I said, "Like my cat, he'll run around like crazy for 10 minutes, then he'll sleep for 40 minutes, then he'll get up and run around for 10 minutes and sleep for 40. Okay. So
thanks for
sharing. Didn't know I knew all that, did you?
No.
You're looking at me like, where did you come from to share all that?
I'm just trying to understand. Take it all in.
Okay.
Not overreact or judge.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So we should talk about our discoveries of the week.
We can do that.
I think that's a lovely idea.
Do you want to kick us off?
I do. So we've been talking all week about your pathway support, the support along your pathway to achieving whatever it is, what that support looks like, where that support comes from. And I wrote yesterday a list while I wasn't on the program of where support doesn't come from that I thought it did for me.
Okay.
So I thought at one point that it came from within me. I should know all the answers. I should be able to support myself. If I don't know something, I should be able to go to the internet, type it in, figure it out. Everything, no matter what, whether it's a technology thing, whether it's an insurance thing, whether it's a tax thing, whether it's a sales thing, a marketing thing, you name it. I should know it all. That didn't work so well. Friends and family. That didn't work real well. I would go to them and say, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out this business thing." And I would get at first they'd listen. And then you'd kind of get the feeling like they felt like they weren't qualified to make a decision. And I think they thought that I was expecting them to make the decision for me. And sometimes I think I was. I also, at one point in my career, would go to a key employee that worked for me and talk to them about things. And that was really awkward for them because they were in that position of, I don't know if I should be hearing this. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I just want my job to be here. And he's talking about laying people off and who would get laid off. And I don't really want to know because I got to have lunch with all these people. And that was really awkward. The bartender, not so good either. That they will listen. They're great listeners, but bartenders tend not to be really good at providing business insights. That's it. Could be a case where they might, but I would say by and large, probably not. And people you play golf with. I had a time where I remember specifically that I was on the golf course playing with someone. We shared a card. I didn't know him. And I was dealing with a business thing that came up because of a phone call right before the golf. And he's like, "You seem distracted." And I started to explain to him the situation. And I was more unfiltered in that moment than I probably could have been. And afterwards, he told a mutual friend that he thought I was really a great person to be around, except for when I talked about business stuff, when I was supposed to be worried about playing golf. So he'd have a great shot, and I'd be right into talking about my business thing, not the golf game, which on a golf course, as you probably know, is not the best etiquette. And I've tried all those, and I'm betting I'm not alone. And I think what I've found that works for me is that support comes from the people who say that they want to support me from a business perspective. Some of them are paid. I have a coach. He supports me in one capacity. Some people are like you, that I don't pay you, yet you support me. And if I have a business challenge, yesterday we just sort of backed into one. And you, over the course of maybe 8 minutes, gave me a real insight into something I hadn't really thought about before. But I think you choose that role with me, and I choose that role with you And if you think about when we first started getting together, we kind of did that for each other. So it's not unexpected or it's not out of character. If you thought, Tom, about the number of times you and I have talked, what we've talked about, I'm going to bet we've talked about business stuff, probably more than personal. Although I might be testing that in some mornings.
Well, I think that so much of that is all tied together. Sometimes business is personal. I mean, it's just a part of it.
Right.
Because it has an impact on who we are and what we do.
And I think my big discovery for the week is I need to have a support network. I can't do it alone. I would love to be able to. It would be so much easier sometimes, but if I don't know, YouTube marketing. I don't know Google Ads. There was a point I was telling someone yesterday, there was a point 10, 12 years ago when I was doing marketing where I pretty much could understand all the marketing. Now, I can't know Instagram marketing if I know Facebook marketing because they're very different. They're just different platforms. And to know all that and be good at that is way beyond the capacity of someone like me. And so bringing in an expert to help me with those things is really critical to me achieving my goals without extra effort. And sometimes that costs money. And that money, I remember a time I built a website over the weekend and I spent the whole weekend building a website. And I talked to someone who does websites afterwards. They're like, oh, I would have done that for you for X number of dollars. Well, X number of dollars to have my weekend to enjoy and not be cursing building a website, at that time would have been really well spent money. And I think so often we think about, well, I'm bootstrapping, I can't afford to spend to get the help I need. And I think that's a misnomer that ends up making us work. That was the reason why I worked 80 hours some weeks when I probably could have worked 40, been focused on the things I do well and outsourced the things that are outside of my skill set, or gone to a training and said, you know what, I'm going to take this day and I'm going to understand, I'm going to look at the options for how to build a website and figure out the solution that fits best my needs. And yes, it may cost me money. I may buy a site that's got a template. I may buy a site that's more plug and play. And this is going back, 8 or 10 years ago. This is not now. And I think that discovery for me has really accelerated my business growth in the sense that I'm, I think the phrase we often use now is stay in your lane. My lane used to be every lane on the highway. And now I try very much to be in the middle lane. And if it's something that's outside my lane, I try not to grab hold of it. I try not to get into that lane as much as possible. What do you think?
It's interesting. It's making me think.
Okay, good. I like that. This is when it gets to be really fun.
Well, it's interesting because what you shared at the start of your list of all the people where not to find support from, I'm going to disagree with.
Oh.
Here's why. I think that the challenge is all of those people can provide some sort of support.
Mm-hmm.
The key is, are we clear of the support we're looking for from them? And are they clear of the support that we want from them? You talk about friends and family. Yeah, they might not want to share business support, that they might want to be there to just listen. And so often, like even you said, they weren't really sure, or the employee that worked for you, what you were looking for from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's that uncertainty, that lack of communication that makes it challenging. And usually everyone walks away feeling like, well, that was weird. I don't really know what to do with this. I don't know what I'm supposed to share as the person who is being asked for support. Do they want me to tell them what to do? Do they want me to just sit here and listen? Do they want me to provide questions or ask them questions or other thoughts or ideas? And I think that it's that miscommunication around what is the support we're looking for is the biggest challenge, or one of the challenges. And I think being really clear on the support we're looking for. When we used to get together over coffee or lunch, it was usually pretty clear. One of us would say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you come have a conversation around it? And I think we knew that there was a part listening, part maybe asking questions, and part maybe offering some thoughts or ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the piece that gets confusing. I mean, I remember and I think I've shared this story with you before. When my wife and I first started playing golf together, she didn't want
my favorite
support.
story.
She didn't want support, and I would try to be like, because I've been
Or
playing most of
coaching.
my life. I'm sorry.
She didn't want
Or
coaching either.
Correct. And so I think that was part of it, is that I didn't realize that. I felt like, hey, there are some things that she might be able to do differently that might make it more enjoyable. And actually, that's not what she was looking for. She was looking to go out and just do her thing and have fun. And just me be there to support, that's what she wanted to do, not to tell her how she could do it differently. And, and I think the bartenders are pretty good listeners. And so if you just needed the support you needed was, I just need someone to listen, that might be a place to go, depending on the relationship you have with that bartender and the past conversations you've had. And so to me, my discovery of the week is being really clear of the support that we're looking for from others, or the support that others want from us. And that lack of clarity is what usually leads to sometimes conflict, or just this weird feeling of, well, that was different, and not really able to help us move forward. And so when you go to somebody like a family member or a spouse and say, oh, I'm just really struggling with this thing at work, they don't know, when you start talking about it, is, do you just want them to listen because you need someone to talk to about it? Do you want them to provide feedback, or do you want them to provide ideas or ask you further questions? And I think that that's one of the things that is a challenge about support, is not really being clear on it. And then, because if somebody hasn't signed up for that, that's going to cause some strain on the relationship. Like the guy you play golf with, if
Right.
you had said to him up front, man, I'm just off a little bit today. I got this thing that I'm dealing with, and I'm a little worried it might distract me. And so if I'm being distracting of you by sharing this, or, don't worry about it, I might talk about this a little bit, I'm not going to go on about it, there would have been some more further clarity around what was going on. And he might have been like, yeah, you know what? It's golf. I don't really like to talk business during golf. And that might have helped you be like, okay, I guess I need to look somewhere else for the support that I'm looking for someone who agrees to provide whatever it is that I'm looking for, desire in that opportunity. Like your cat provides support. Looks like providing support right now. For those of you on the podcast, Bob's cat, Sam Hunt, is wrapped up in Bob's arms, which makes me feel like Bob's looking for some support because he's getting nervous or uncomfortable.
Not at all. I'm just trying to keep him. He's I don't know. He's just.
So I would say that's my discovery.
He's been swatting at the keyboard today.
Ah.
We have a question, Tom. Can you hit the button, because I'm being chewed on?
Yeah.
Should we be direct? This is from Jackie. Should we be direct in telling a person what support we want from them? And I would say yes, if we know. I think the challenge is we don't always know exactly what the support we're looking for is. Sometimes we want advice. Sometimes we just, like, I'm a verbal processor. Sometimes I just want to talk something out and have someone hear, and then I can solve it myself. Sometimes the last thing I want is someone to give me their advice, even though I'm talking about something. Sometimes I want someone to just be like, I can't believe you did that. What were you thinking? Just to beat me up so that I can get the beat up part of things done. So I don't know. For me, maybe Tom, all the time what you need from someone, but I don't in the moment, which I think is part of why having these roles really clear is so essential. That I go to you with a specific set of issues that I want help with, and I go to someone else with specific issues. Just like in your company, if you worked in a company, you go to the IT department when your email doesn't work. You don't go to the senior vice president of sales for your email to work. You don't go to IT when you're trying to figure out why you didn't get paid last week. So in a workplace, those roles are very siloed. I don't know that in small business, I feel like there are silos because I'm wearing so many hats and so many of the people I'm working with and around are wearing so many hats.
Yeah. I think I would look at Jackie's question a little. I like it. I mean, I think the communication is key. I think, though, that for me, telling them what we want from them, unless you're paying them, and that this is, even if you're paying them, you might say, hey, I need this type of support from you. And they may be like, that's not the support I really provide. I think
paying them meaning a coach, not like paying someone at the bar, hey, I'll give you $50 if you listen to me. But I guess you could.
You could. I think that it's
I don't recommend it, but
I don't know. I mean, if you could say, hey, you know what? I've had a really rough day. Here's the way I think it's more of a question for the bartender. Hey, I've had a really rough day. And I just need to gripe about some things. I don't have anyone else to talk to. And we have some sort of relation or we don't, and be like, would it be okay? I'll tip you $50 if, when you're not busy with others, you just come back here and let me gripe for a little bit. Or if you're having you just had a huge sale and you're traveling and you're on the road and you have nobody to talk to about it, you could go in and be like, I just want to celebrate this and I don't have anyone around to do this. Would you be willing to listen? And I think in that case, I have said, all I need you to do is listen. You don't have to offer any feedback. You don't have to do whatever. So at least I'm clear on, don't worry, I'm not asking for you for advice. I'm not asking you to try to dissect this and figure it out. I just want someone who's going to sit there and be willing to listen to what I have to say, the celebrations that I have. And so that's, I think, Jack, where I would look at it is asking them. If Bob had gone to the person that worked for him and said, I'm having one of these challenges that I'm trying to figure out, and I really don't have anyone else to talk to about this. Would you be comfortable if I shared a little bit about what's going on and you just provided some of your thoughts? I'm not looking for answers. I just am looking for someone who can share a different perspective with me. And then the person has a chance to respond. And then there's some clarity around, yes, I'm comfortable with this. They could have said, like you sort of assumed as well, Bob, here's the thing. Half of these people are my really good friends. We go out to lunch pretty regularly, which maybe you noticed, maybe you haven't. What you might not know is that every Thursday night we get together and do trivia somewhere. And half the time, if there's a big game going on, we might gather for that. So these people are kind of my friends outside of just being my coworkers. And I'm a little uncomfortable having those conversations around them. That would have been helpful for you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it wouldn't have helped solve the challenge you were trying to overcome. It would have just been helpful in your relationship with that person to say, that's fair. I completely understand that. Thank you for being honest with me. I'll find someone else I can talk to about it.
Right.
So that there was, and then they might, who knows, over time, or they might in that moment say, and if you're really just looking because you're struggling about something with the organization or something else, I'm happy to listen to that. I just am uncomfortable talking about my peers. So that to me is just finding clarity in what are the people we're with. And I think unfortunately we don't. And so we come home or we go out with family and friends and we just unload on them all this stuff. And they're left with, well, geez, I've got my own stuff, or I just wanted to go out and have a nice dinner or a fun time out at this movie. And it's turned into a therapy session or, a business solution session when that's not really where I feel I have value. If you want me to be there to celebrate when something went well and you just want to go out and enjoy that, okay, great. Tell me that, and we can make that a part of the evening, especially with family and friends, for them to then say, here's what I was looking to get out of this. Or here's where I would find value, and I'm either comfortable in doing whatever you're looking for, or you find ways to just differently understand where people are at.
I like it. Covered a lot of ground today.
That's becoming one of your favorite sentences, I think.
But we have.
I agree. All right, everyone. If you
we're going to be an hour earlier next week because time change on Sunday. Aren't you excited?
Wait, the time changes on Sunday?
Yes, sir.
Huh. I didn't realize that.
Spring forward. Yep. You're going to lose an hour. So when I tell you it's a long week next week, you can say, no, it was a short week because it was an hour shorter.
Depends on when the week starts. Depends on when you start the week. Start on Monday or start on Sunday? Saturday. When does it start?
Good point. So, yeah, time change Sunday morning.
All right, everyone. So mark that down. Be ready to change your clocks.
That's right.
So you don't forget. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show today. If you have a discovery of the week you'd like to share, please feel free to put it in the comments. If you're listening to our podcast and there is no place to comment, please feel free to join us inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where you can share your value there. And while you're sharing it, you might discover some value that might be beneficial to you, and you might be sharing exactly what somebody else has desperately been looking for. So please feel free to go in and share your thoughts and ideas and your discoveries, whether they relate to your pathway support or something else that you discovered that you thought would be of value to others. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, we'll see you Monday morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time, or is it 6, or is it 8, or?
No, it'd be 7 on the clock if you set your clock forward.
What if I don't? 6?
It'd be 8. Spring forward. I don't know. I can't. No, it'd be 6. I don't know. Don't confuse me. Now I need support.
Yes.
Fortunately, my iPhone will tell me the right time because it'll automatically switch. Remember when you used to have to call on your phone to get the time?
The time? I remember that.
And the weather, right?
Time and weather. We're showing our age there, Bob.
Yeah.
Thing.
The people don't realize that you can get all that like right on your phone, right in front of your face. Heck, Alexa will tell me right now what the weather is.
What's funny is, you're still doing it the same way. You either use your phone to call to get it, or so it's always you've been able to gather it on your phone.
I wonder if that number still works to call to get the time.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I'll have to try it.
You should try it. See what happens.
What do you remember what it was?
I always thought it was 555-1212.
No, that's the TV number.
Well, I don't know then.
Wait.
I don't know what support you're looking for from me. You want me to give you an answer? Do you want me to, or are you going to just, if I give an answer, you're going to beat me up for it? Or am I just supposed to listen?
Folks, go out, embrace the renegading you, enjoy the weekend, go to bed an hour early on Sunday night so that Monday morning isn't so rough. That's my tip for the week.
I think
or Saturday night. Sorry, go to bed Saturday night. Thank you.
Now you're really messing people up. All right, everybody, go out and enjoy the day. We will see you soon. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.